The moment you forgive her too easily, she stops valuing you. You've felt it before, the shift. One day, she's all over you, craving your attention. The next, cold, distant, testing you. You tell yourself, it's just a phase. So you let it slide. You swallow your pride. You give her another chance, thinking you're being patient, a good man. But all you're really doing is making yourself disposable. Here's what no one tells you. When a woman knows you won't leave, she stops respecting you. Not because she's cruel, not because she wants to hurt you, but because she's wired that way. Respect and attraction aren't built on how much you give. They're built on how much you command. The moment she realizes there are no consequences for her actions, you become background noise, always there, always available, always forgiving. And a man who is always there is a man she can afford to lose. But the real problem? It's not her. It's you. You were never taught how to be a man she can't walk over. Society has spent years stripping you of your edge, convincing you that forgiveness equals strength. It doesn't. Forgiveness without consequence equals submission. And submission, that's the fastest way to lose everything. Your respect, your power, your ability to lead. So ask yourself, how many times have you been in this cycle? How many times have you told yourself, this time will be different, only to end up right back here? And here's where it gets worse. And that's why you're here. Welcome to Man Code, the only place that tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. No fluff, no fake positivity, no sugarcoating. Just the brutal truth about how to become the kind of man who commands respect. Not just from women, but from the world. So here's the question. Are you ready to wake up? Or will you keep lying to yourself, pretending things will change while everything stays the same? If you're serious about leveling up, subscribe. This isn't just another YouTube channel. This is where weak men die and strong men are born. The harsh reality. Why women lose respect for weak forgiveness. You think being a nice guy will make her love you more. That if you just keep proving how patient, understanding, and forgiving you are, she'll finally see your worth. But let's be real. Has that ever worked? Or do you always end up in the same position? Watching her pull away, watching her lose interest, watching her give her best to the man who doesn't tolerate her bullshit while you sit there wondering what went wrong? Here's the truth. Women don't respect men who can't enforce boundaries. And if she doesn't respect you, she can't love you. The difference between masculine and feminine emotional processing. See, men and women don't process emotions the same way. A man's love is based on loyalty. A woman's love is based on respect. You think that by endlessly forgiving her, you're proving loyalty, showing her you're willing to fight for the relationship. But that's not how she sees it. What she sees is a man who doesn't value himself enough to demand respect. A man who is afraid to walk away. A man who will tolerate being treated like an afterthought, just to keep the peace. And nothing kills attraction faster than a weak man who prioritizes her feelings over his self-respect. Why being nice is not a virtue in attraction. Society has convinced men that niceness is the key to winning a woman's heart. That if you're just polite, giving, and endlessly patient, she'll recognize your value. Bullshit. Nice doesn't create attraction. Certainty does. Strength does. Self-respect does. When you constantly forgive disrespect, you're not being nice. You're showing weakness. You're signaling that you need her more than she needs you. And neediness is the ultimate attraction killer. A woman doesn't lose feelings because you treated her well. She loses feelings because you made yourself predictable, safe, boring. You became the man she knew would always be there, no matter how badly she treated him. And that brings us to the most brutal truth of all. The law of scarcity. If your forgiveness is too cheap, it loses value. Think about it. What happens when something is too available? Too easy to get? you stop valuing it. It's the same with your forgiveness. When you hand it out like candy, with no consequences, she stops caring about it. She stops fearing losing you. And the second she realizes you're a man she can mistreat without consequences, the game is over. Women don't test men for fun. They test to see if you're real. If you'll stand your ground. If you're a man worthy of respect. And if you fail that test, if you cave, if you apologize for things you shouldn't, if you let her push your boundaries with no repercussions, she will stop seeing you as a man worth respecting. So ask yourself, how many times has she tested you? And how many times have you folded? Because here's the bottom line, if you don't enforce respect, you will never get it. And if you don't fix this now, it won't just cost you your relationship. It'll cost you your dignity, your confidence, your ability to command respect in every area of life. So what do? That's what we're getting into next. Stay locked in, because the next part is the difference between being a man she craves and a man she forgets. The psychological breakdown. How attraction and respect work. Most men think relationships are built on love. They believe that if they just show her how much they care, how deeply they're willing to sacrifice, how endlessly they're willing to forgive, she'll appreciate them more. But that's not how attraction works. Love doesn't come first. Respect does. And if she doesn't respect you, nothing else matters. Women test men to see if they are strong. If you've ever had a woman push your buttons, disrespect you, or pick fights over seemingly nothing, you probably told yourself, she's just being emotional, or she's in a bad mood. Wrong. She's testing you. And whether she even realizes it or not, she's doing it for a reason, to see what kind of man you really are. Women don't test weak men. They don't test men they don't care about. They test men they're considering following, to see if he's strong enough to lead. And if she pushes you, and you fold? If you let her get away with blatant disrespect, if you constantly apologize for things that aren't your fault, if you reward her bad behavior with more patience, more effort, more forgiveness, she stops seeing you as a leader. She stops trusting you. And without trust, there is no attraction. Look around. How many men do you know who let their woman walk all over them? Who act like a king in public, but turn into a scared little boy the moment she gets mad? They think they're being understanding. They think they're avoiding drama. But what they're really doing is showing her they're not strong enough to handle her emotions. And when she realizes that, she stops respecting him. And when she stops respecting him, it's only a matter of time before she stops sleeping with him, stops wanting to be around him, and starts looking for a man who actually knows how to stand his ground. So ask yourself, how many times has a woman tested you? And how many times have you failed? Because if you think you can just be nicer or be more patient to fix this, you're already losing. And that's because women feel less emotionally connected when you overforgive. You've heard it 1,000 times. I just want a nice guy. A guy who understands me. A guy who forgives me when I mess up. Sounds good, right? Sounds logical. Except every man who's tried it knows it doesn't work. Because the moment you start forgiving too much, the moment you start excusing her bad behavior, the moment she realizes she can do whatever she wants with no consequences, she disconnects emotionally. Why? Because attraction isn't built on comfort. It's built on emotional tension. Attraction is that feeling of not quite knowing where you stand. Of wanting to impress a man because he's not fully won over yet. Of knowing she has to earn his respect before she gets his full investment. But if you're always available, if you're always forgiving, if you're always just glad to have her no matter how she treats you, you kill that tension. There's no chase, no excitement, no reason for her to try. And when a woman doesn't feel the need to try, she checks out. Because women don't fall for men who give them everything for free. They fall for men they feel lucky to have. And you will never make her feel lucky if you don't even value yourself enough to demand respect. Which leads to the biggest mistake men make. The trap of seeking validation through forgiveness. Here's the ugly truth. Most men don't forgive because they're kind. They forgive because they're afraid. Afraid of conflict. Afraid of her getting upset. Afraid of losing her. They tell themselves, if I forgive her, if I just let it go, she'll see that I'm the best choice. No. All she sees is a man so terrified of losing her that he's willing to put up with anything just to keep her around. And the second she realizes you're operating from fear instead of self-respect, she's already mentally packing her bags. Because no woman wants to be with a man who values her more than he values himself. So here's the shift you need to make. Holding her accountable isn't about punishing her, it's about maintaining your own self-worth. It's about showing her that your respect isn't something she can take for granted. That if she crosses a line, you don't beg. You don't negotiate. You don't just forgive and forget. You enforce consequences. And that's exactly what we're breaking down next. How to become the man she can't afford to lose. How to regain respect and never be taken for granted again. You've been lied to your entire life. They told you that being a good man meant being patient. That love meant unconditional forgiveness. That if you just keep proving your worth, she'll never leave. But where has that gotten you? Disrespected. Ignored. Watching her pull away, knowing something is wrong but not knowing how to fix it. It's time to stop playing by rules that make you weak. Because the truth is, respect isn't something you ask for, it's something you command. And if you don't know how to do that, you will never hold a woman's loyalty. So how do you turn this around? It starts here. Stop being afraid to lose her. A man's greatest leverage in any relationship is the ability to walk away. If you can't do that, if you're so afraid of losing her that you tolerate things you shouldn't, if you cling to the relationship like it's the only thing that gives your life meaning, you're already done. And she can feel it. She knows when a man needs her more than she needs him. And the second she senses that, something shifts. She stops seeing you as a leader, as a challenge, as a man she has to earn. You become just another option, one she's comfortable disrespecting. Look around. The men who get played are always the ones who can't walk away. They threaten to leave but never do. They set boundaries but don't enforce them. They beg, they argue, they try to fix things, when all they're really doing is showing weakness. And weakness in a man is never attractive. Women respect men who are willing to lose them. Not because they don't care, but because they value themselves more than the relationship. And if you don't have that mindset yet, it's time to develop it. Because the moment she realizes you'll actually walk if she disrespects you, her entire attitude will change. But that only works if you know how to set boundaries. Set boundaries and mean them. Most men say they have boundaries. They talk about how they won't tolerate disrespect, how they won't put up with drama, how they demand loyalty. But when the moment comes, when she crosses a line, when she disrespects them in public, when she plays games instead of being straight, they fold. They get emotional. They yell, argue, explain, overcompensate. That's not setting a boundary, that's negotiating your worth. A real boundary isn't about what you say, it's about what you do. If she crosses a line, you step back. You don't beg. You don't debate. You don't explain. You show her, through action, not words, that you are not a man who tolerates disrespect. And when she sees that, she knows she's dealing with a man who values himself more than the relationship. And that is exactly the kind of man a woman respects. But there's one final key to all of this. The power of controlled detachment. Here's where most men screw this up. When they get disrespected, they overreact. They lash out, they try to hurt her back, they play childish games to make her jealous. All that does is prove that she controls your emotions. The real power move. Strategic distance. Instead of overreacting, you simply pull away. You go quiet. You stop giving her the attention she expects. Why? Because nothing makes a woman value you more than the fear of losing your presence. She might act like she doesn't care. She might act cold. But deep down, she feels the shift. And that uncertainty, That's what keeps attraction alive. Men who master this never have to beg for respect. Because the second she senses she's losing you, she corrects her behavior on her own. And if she doesn't, you already know what to do. You walk. No arguments. No explaining. No second chances. Because at the end of the day, you don't win by convincing her to respect you. You win by being the kind of man she can't afford to lose. And that's what we're breaking down next. The exact steps to rebuilding yourself into a man who commands respect effortlessly. Stay locked in. Action plan. What to do if you've been too forgiving. So here's the question that's probably running through your mind right now. If I've already lost her respect, can I get it back? The answer? Yes, but only if you take action. Because respect isn't something you can talk your way into. You can't beg for it, negotiate for it, or explain why you deserve it. You have to earn it. And that starts now. Step 1. Stop seeking validation and trying to fix things emotionally. Most men's first instinct when a woman pulls away is to chase harder. They start over-explaining, over-apologizing, over-investing, desperately trying to fix whatever went wrong. Big mistake. The moment you start looking for emotional reassurance from a woman who already doesn't respect you, you're done. Because now, you're not just weak in her eyes, you're desperate. And desperation is repulsive. So if you've been trying to reason with her, trying to convince her to treat you better, trying to get her to understand where you're coming from, stop. Women don't respond to words. They respond to behavior. And that leads us to the next move. Step 2. Implement controlled distance and enforce boundaries. A woman can only disrespect you if she feels comfortable doing it. If she knows you'll stick around no matter what, if she knows you'll keep chasing, if she knows she can ignore you today and still have you tomorrow, she has no reason to change. That's why you have to disrupt the pattern. Instead of reacting emotionally, you pull back. You go quiet. You stop rewarding bad behavior with your time, attention, and energy. Because here's the thing, absence creates value. The second she feels the shift, the second she realizes you're no longer just there waiting for her, her perception of you starts to change. And if she still has any level of attraction left, she'll start to wonder, wait, why isn't he chasing? Why isn't he reacting? Did I push too far? This is how you regain leverage. And if she reaches out, tests you, or tries to see if she still has control, you enforce boundaries, not with words, but with actions. If she disrespected you before and comes back acting like nothing happened, you don't just accept it. You call it out, and if she won't own up to it, you step away again. No anger. No emotional outbursts. Just calm, controlled, unwavering self-respect. And during that time, you focus on the next step. Step 3. Focus on personal growth, not just the relationship. Most men make the mistake of making this all about getting her back. But if your only goal is to win her respect, instead of becoming the kind of man who naturally commands respect from everyone, you're setting yourself up to fail. Because even if she comes back, what happens? You haven't actually changed. You're still the same guy underneath, the same guy who tolerated too much, who needed her approval, who was willing to trade his self-worth just to keep her around. And guess what? She'll test you again. And if you haven't actually leveled up, if you're still just pretending to be stronger instead of actually becoming stronger, you'll fail the test again. That's why your focus should be 100% on you. A hit the gym. A lock-in on your purpose. Build skills. Expand your network. And become so focused on becoming the best version of yourself that she's no longer the center of your world. Because here's the truth. Women don't respect men who make them their mission. They respect men who have a mission bigger than them. And when you finally understand that, everything changes. But there's one final piece to this puzzle. Step 4. Speak less, act more. Respect is regained through action, not words. When you start making these changes, you're going to feel the urge to explain yourself. To tell her, Look, I'm different now. I've changed. Don't. A weak man talks about change. A strong man becomes the change. She doesn't need to hear it. She needs to feel it. She needs to see that you're no longer the guy who tolerates disrespect. That you're no longer desperate for her approval. That you've become the kind of man who demands respect. Not through force, not through manipulation, but simply by the way you carry yourself. And when that happens, she'll either adjust to meet your new standard, or she'll fade out of your life. Either way, you win. Because this was never just about her. This was about you becoming the kind of man who never has to beg for respect again. And if you're serious about that, then the next part is everything. Because now, we're diving into the exact mindset shifts that separate weak men from men who dominate life. Stay locked in. Become a man she can't disrespect. If she knows she can get away with anything, she won't value you. And if the world sees you as a man who doesn't value himself, it will walk all over you, too. That's the brutal reality. This isn't just about one woman, one relationship, or one moment where you got played. This is about your entire life. Right now, you have a choice. Stay the same, keep making excuses, keep waiting for things to fix themselves, or wake up and take control. Because here's the truth most men never accept. No one is coming to save you. Society doesn't care if you stay weak. The world isn't waiting for you to step up. The only person who can change this is you. And that's why most men never make it. They stay distracted, numbing themselves with cheap dopamine, video games, porn, social media, endless scrolling, chasing validation, avoiding the real work. They hear the truth, they nod their heads, they tell themselves they'll start tomorrow, and then they never do. Weak men always find a reason to wait. Strong men take action. So which one are you? Because if you've listened this far, I know you feel it, the urgency. The reality that if you don't fix this now, you never will. Every second you hesitate, someone else is out there getting stronger. Someone else is taking your opportunities. Someone else is becoming the man you were supposed to be. And the difference between you and them? They made a decision. So here's yours. You either step up right now, or you accept that nothing will change. And if you're serious about this, if you refuse to stay weak, if you refuse to keep living as the man you were instead of the man you're meant to be, then this is the place for you. This isn't just a channel. It's a movement. A movement for men who refuse to be average, who refuse to be disrespected, who refuse to be weak. So don't just subscribe. Prove you belong here. Most men will click away. Most men will go back to their distractions. Most men will stay the same. Are you one of them? Or are you built different?